Happy Friday morning.
This is a first. We have royalty here.
We have royalty, yes. Adriana Morrison, welcome.
Well, thanks for having me, gentlemen. I appreciate your time.
Oh man, I love it.
I
you are in
think
fact the first tiara that I've seen on our show. So
we did have a dame.
We had a dame. Yeah, we did have a dame. Yes, but yeah,
okay.
you know, yeah. So talk to us real quick about this tiara situation because this is exciting.
Yeah, so I recently was awarded the title of Mrs. Colorado American 2026. We are under the Mrs. America system. And so there were two title holders that receive this title in our pageant season. So every state has a pageant under the Mrs. America pageant system. And so on April 4th, I was a contestant amongst 39 other amazing women. And I was I was not only, I think, best publication for our ad page in the pageant book, but also I'm now Mrs. Colorado American. So what that means is that I compete in the Mrs. American pageant in August representing Colorado.
How rough
That's
is
awesome.
it being married to all of Colorado?
Yeah.
Well, it's not rough when you're married to the greatest person on planet Earth.
Oh,
there
that's
you go.
nice.
You're like, just in case he's listening to this, and we're gonna.
No, it's been, living in Colorado to me is amazing. I've been here since 2014, and I think that there is a level of adventure for Colorado. Obviously, you have Denver, and then you have some of the bigger areas, but then also the wide open space that Mother Nature has to offer, and then the seasons. And when we get snow, the seasons are absolutely fantastic. I know it's a little toasty this year, but that's okay. It's a great place to live, and I'm proud to be here.
Yeah, I love Colorado. You and I have talked offline a couple of times, and like that state brings out the best in humans, I think. I mean, there's like a lot of positive energy in that state. And even if you're just a curmudgeon, it's hard to be a curmudgeon when it's like you have that to look at all the time. I mean, everywhere is awesome.
Yeah, I think that there's a level of adventuresomeness, for lack of a better phrase, that people have, where in the summer you're biking and hiking, in the winter you just do winter sport, whether it's skiing, snowboarding, or snowshoeing, or anything outside. I think it's just something that you just want to. There's a lot of movement here, and
And you know what's funny about people that live in states like that I've never gotten on board with? You just said snowshoeing. I'm like, what is with you, Colorado, California, Idaho, walking up
in
fucking mountains? Like, I'm like, no, come on. Like, people are like, this guy I met, I was just in British Columbia for spring break.
That's a
and
beautiful
we were
place
skiing
too.
out there, and this guy's like, oh, they had these bindings on that I'd never seen. So I asked him what they were. He goes, oh, they're backcountry bindings. It's for skiing uphill. I'm like, what? Like, what?
Why would you ski uphill?
What do you mean, man? And he's like, oh yeah, I get out in like the morning and I'm going up to the top, and then it's exhilarating going down. I'm like, dude, I'm going to the same top on a lift, and it's going to be just as exhilarating going down. Like, I haven't gotten into that part.
They also call that skinning. So
yeah, skinning. Yeah. My buddy's got skins. He puts them on here in Maryland. Actually, I'm like, what's wrong with you, brother?
We are snowboarders, so I will snowboard. I'm not a skier.
Are you a split board kind of girl?
No, I've not done that yet. I just have my Burton snowboard, and it's lasted me. But I think this coming season, I'm going to have to replace it because I've had it for like 10 years now.
Oh yeah, it's time. Those boards, like, weirdly, there is technology in a snowboard, and I never thought that'd be true. But I have a T-Rice Pro. It's by a company called Libtech, and they have this camber rocker situation. So if you stand flat on it, you actually can tap independently both toes, both heels, and sit on the camber of the middle of the board.
Wow.
And it makes steering infinitely better. And I'm like, somebody got paid a lot and thought about this for a really long time to figure this snowboard technology out.
I mean, that's great technology. I didn't grow up. I grew up in Florida, so
none of this matters.
Yeah,
wrong kind of boards there.
Yeah.
I'm just on green runs, so then I will traverse. Very big, and I try not to be too edgy, and Yeah, me
Right.
and my footed approach, we're so good.
Tom, the split board thing is actually a version of uphill skiing. They unlock the board. It turns into two shorter skis.
Mm-hmm.
You ski or walk uphill, clip it back together, and snowboard down. I'm like, this is something I will never own.
My second time skiing and snowboarding was in Vail. And I feel like with my lack of experience, it was entirely wasted on me.
Yeah, sure.
And by the end of the first day, I'm like, you just fucking fall down a mountain all day? Like that's what I yelled at a friend. I'm like, I'll just be at the house getting drunk.
Was that the only place that you went? Did you
No, I did something, you know, I'm originally from New York. I did something upstate New York, and all my friends are like, it's super icy. I'm like, then why the fuck are we going?
Yeah.
Like, it hurts more when you fall now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people come here, because we have, for the
it
most
was
part,
beautiful, absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. So tell me how this intersects with your well, I don't know if we call it your day job, but your other life of fitness and wellness. You have an entirely rich ecosystem going on over there, which is, you know, what we're going to probably spend a little bit of time talking about today at some point. But like, how do these two intertwine, or are these just totally separate tracks for you and one's fun and or they're both fun? I don't know. How do
they absolutely intertwine. And initially, when I was asked to consider being in the pageant world, I didn't think anything of it. I just blew it off. I thought, no, there's no way. You know, I grew up, I was not an athlete, but when I went to college, I was over 200 pounds for most of my 20s. So when I got to about age 28,
You were over 200 pounds. Are you serious?
I was.
Wow.
Yes. So life wasn't 100% stellar at home. My mother, you know, she was a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And so then I ran away to college to chase my dreams. But in doing so, I played small because I was more worried about my self-esteem. It wasn't where it needed to be. So I ate my feelings and drank like a jerk. And so when I did that, I became very unhealthy for almost 10 years. And then age 28 was when I knew that it was just that one day I looked in the mirror, and instead of getting depressed, I got really pissed. And for the first time, I owned it. And I realized it was me that put me in that position. So I did it the right way. It took me over 6 months to lose over 50 pounds. And when that's still
impressive.
Yeah, it was tough, especially back then where no one around me was interested in being healthy or getting healthy. So it was a lonely journey for me. And when I kept the weight off consistently and I was healthy for a good period of time, I switched careers, and then I jumped into health and fitness. So I started off as a group fitness instructor, and then I just carried it all the way through. So that's been, it's been about 25 years, but I became a certified personal trainer when I was pregnant with number 4. So I've had 4 kids, and that was quite the journey, because they all came from my first marriage, and living in Tennessee at the time. So I didn't fit the mold in so many ways, and but I think I still grew, and I still leaned into that profession. So between my early days and today, I've taught everything under the sun, but I've become a seasoned health and fitness professional. So I now work with women over 40 and really redefining building bodies, burning fat, especially in perimenopause and menopause. And so then fast forward a little bit more to probably about 2018, 2019. At the time, I was head coach for Orange Theory in the Denver metro area, and a former queen, Mrs. Colorado 2010, actually took my class. She would take my 5:15 class in the morning, and she was like, you know, you need to do the pageant. And I'm like, okay.
No.
I'm like,
no.
So
Yeah.
she was insistent. She was like, you know, I think you should do the pageant. Now, if, you know, to know me is to know I live in leggings and sneakers and things. And I was like, oh, no. But she kept at it for several months. And then finally she was like, you know, you should do the pageant. And then I was like, I wonder if I should do the pageant. And so it just literally, she wore me down. And so that was in 2021. And so I've been competing for 6 years now, including 2021. I've made top 12 and then top 6. And then, but I've also slid back in placement. So not every year progressing was a year progressing in placement. So I did this. And then this past year, I was like, you know what? I'm here to have fun. And my husband, he and I have been married for 10 years now. He's like, I'm right behind you, babe. You just go for it all. And I'm fully supporting you. And I literally decided, I'm going to use this to represent me and all the space that I stand for. And I think having fun allowed me to be a serious contender. And here I am.
And here you are.
So
isn't it
Awesome.
weird how that works? Like what are some of the things that changed, you think, about that shift from like, fuck it, I'm just here to have fun and let's see what happens? Like what do you think made that? It feels like it was like a lubrication for this system almost. Like it was like,
I think I remembered that I was competing against me, and I needed to take the focus off of everybody else. So a couple chapters before in my life, when I was a single mom, I actually did bodybuilding competitions. I was a figure competitor, and I did that initially to have the appeal, to gain more clients, to have the exposure. And so I was moderately successful. I qualified nationally twice. And I remember the motto that the bodybuilding community gives is it's you against you. So yes, there's a standard when you're being on stage and you're being judged against the standard of what they're looking for. Who's the most accurate representation, male or female, depending upon if it's a male competition or female competition, but then it's you against you. So I think along the way, I allowed myself to get lost in the feelings of my pageant journey for where I did this. And then this year I was like, it's me against me. There's some serious contenders and they're raising the bar, so I better show up. But then it's a great metaphor in life, because I needed to defeat who I was yesterday, not who is around me, because their chapters, I don't know anything about what their chapters are like. So I need to just dial in and lock in and go from there.
I love that, because I felt that even in like I got into powerlifting a few years ago. I've stopped, but like I would go and hit a PR and it was not anything impressive. And this giant moose of a dude would come over after you put the weight down and give you a big hug and be like, that's great, man. And the community is ridiculously positive. And when you do your best, they're happy for you. And I absolutely loved that. That was so great. It's like that guy could pick up that my weight was his warm up weight, and he's like, that was great, man. That's the best you've done. Great. Awesome. And I think I also feel like that comes with like that when you hit your 40s, and you start like, I'm not looking at them anymore. I'm looking at myself now.
Yeah. And I think that as we get older, we get a chance to redefine our lives, male or, men or women. We get to debunk the myths that are the Kool-Aid that was fed to our parents of like how life is as we get older. I mean, we're not done yet. All we have to do is be adaptable. And if we adapt to the situation, and then we're going to crush it and have that new level of strength. So I think that's one thing that can help us keep moving forward.
You know what? I think people who are around 50 right now, plus or minus 5 years, so like that 45 to 55 range, I think we have, and I'm square in the middle of that, right? I think we have sort of one thing working against us, and I'll speak for myself only for now, but like we have, when I was a kid, my grandfather looked old. He acted old. He was old. He was 59. And like, you know what I mean? Like, and I had this conversation with my parents, and like, my grandfather was young. Like by standards of today, that people are like running billion-dollar companies still and running Ironman and like winning pageants at 69. You know what I mean? Like these are not old people.
No.
But like our frame of reference was kind of like, oh, you work until you're like 60, you retire with a gold watch, and you play golf or like garden for the rest of your life. So there was this idea and acceptance almost of like, oh, well, I'm 50. I should be warming up my rocking chair right now, right? Like I should be like, making sure that
getting
thing,
ready to cut myself loose. Yeah.
Meanwhile, how I feel right now in this conversation at this day of my life, I feel like I'm just starting out. Like I feel like I'm at the starting line, certainly not rounding the final lap. But there's a cognitive dissonance in my brain about that, right? Like, it's like, well, wait a minute. How could you be just starting and being excited and like gaining muscle and gaining fitness and increasing your VO2 max at 50 years old. Not, you know, like, how could you do any of those things? And I'm like, you know, so like, I just go back and forth a lot personally on this.
I think it feels like a second puberty.
Yeah, right. That's a good way of putting it.
And I would agree to your point, Tom, because I think that I honestly feel like you should never stop moving.
Sure.
I think that when you look at people who are older in their age and you ask them, like those who are really crushing it and defying the odds and the assumption of what an older person is, and you ask them, and time again, they're not slowing down. They've not stopped moving. I remember one time I was in a community dry sauna at a previous gym I was at, and I was talking to a woman who I could have sworn she was in her late 50s, early 60s. She's like, I'm 82. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And I was like, oh, like, okay, spill the tea, spill the secrets.
I'm getting a notebook.
Yes. And she was like, I don't stop moving. I don't stop moving. I walk, I lift weights, I'm active, I do yoga. I just want to move. I never want to sit still. And she's like, everyone in my family, including my husband and my kids, they want to sit still, and I refuse to sit still. And I think she's on a huge message that we're not meant to slow down, because if we slow down, we're just slowing down our momentum. And it's
right.
we have so much life left to live, you know?
Yeah. And I was dropping my car off today at a mechanic, and this older guy, big, you know, pregnant beer belly type thing guy comes in, and the woman next to me was his sales rep and goes, "What's up?" He goes, "Oh, my cholesterol, my this," and like all these, and I'm like, and he's laughing like it's funny. And I just looked at him, I'm like, I'm sad for you. Like, this is like awful that this is like what you're showing up in the world, basically being like, I'm morbidly obese. I'm likely, you know, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, all this stuff. And that's totally okay with me. I'm like, well,
yeah, I agree. Really. That's not a flex. I mean, I know that for a lot of people are at, but I almost think that it's, I once heard this phrase of like, people quit on the 1 yard line. People just quit. So, you know, you throw in the towel so quickly, and it's still a choice. And just because life changes with what becomes quote unquote a challenge doesn't mean we still shouldn't show up, you know? Sure. And I truly
absolutely.
The journey is the destination, not,
you know what
else.
That's a great inflection point, because that in fitness world is where a lot of people I've noticed throw up a lot of barriers right there. They're like, well, I could increase my PR, but that's going to take me 6 months and it's hard. And I'm like, and I'm waiting for like the next part, but they're like, no, that's it. Like, that's it. It's hard, so I'm not going to do it. Yeah.
And it's honestly, it's, you're cutting yourself short. You know, I'm the one that I like, if you're not making goblin faces when you're working out, you're not working out hard enough. That's
I did see a woman once get a bloody nose from a deadlift, and I was like, yeah, I think that's where I tap out. Like, that woman needs her blood pressure tested.
Yeah.
Like that is like, pee yourself, fine.
Yeah.
Get a little dizzy, fine.
Yeah.
Blood spurting out of your nose, see a doc.
Yeah.
She got out of her own way. I mean, she made it happen.
She definitely did. She PR'd.
And then I saw a woman in her probably 60s, maybe early 70s, on a marathon just straight up pee while she was running, like in front of me, like literally just let it go. And I'm like, okay, that's a little gross, but I mean, listen, she's getting it done. We're out here at like mile 18 on a marathon. I guess she just didn't want to stop.
Man, that's determination though, right? At the end of the day, that person's not letting anything stop them.
No.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's you hear some stories of the long distance running, and I've not ran a marathon, so I've not experienced that. Only a half. I hope to never experience that, but I mean,
I love it.
Of course, it can happen. So I get it.
You know what's funny about marathons? I stopped doing them because I found out I have left ventricular hypertrophy from running marathons, and I was like, that sounds bad enough for me to not do that ever again. So I kind of and I stopped it, but like I was the other way. Like I was really, I grew up, like I cut my teeth in New York City in my 20s and drank and drugs and party every night and all this stuff. And I had kids and I did that for my 30s. But halfway through my 30s, I was like, I saw like this vision of me in my 50s, and it wasn't good. It was, okay, I'm smoking weed and cigarettes and drinking every night and sitting on the couch, and I'm watching myself get fatter and fatter and fatter. And I just saw this very terrible vision. So I used marathons as a disciplinary tool, almost like a penance. And it was like, okay, somebody dared me. I made $200 to do a 100-mile bike ride. I made that bet at like 2 a.m. on a Wednesday night where I played on a pool team, smoking a pack of cigarettes. And on Saturday, I rode my bike 100 miles. I'd not ridden a bike past 20 miles up to that point in my life.
Did you cramp up?
It took me 12 hours to finish that century. It was like a slog
That's still
fest.
pretty impressive, man.
Yeah.
So I did that. So here, fast forward though, I did that same run. Well, I rode that race 8 times in a row. I did the next year. I did it in 7 hours, 8 hours.
Wow.
I did it in 7 hours the year after that. So my point about that is like, if I didn't know how badly that sucked, I would never know how easy it is to run 3 miles as a training run, which I do now all the time. Right now it's like, so it was, I needed the suffer fest to train me to like accept the day-to-day reality of like, no, if you want to lose weight, gain strength, lower blood pressure, whatever the metric is, you got to work at it. It's not going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, and to your point, the fish aren't going to jump into the boat. I mean, if we want it, we're going to have to, we have to get out of our own way. And I always like to tell women who I work with that, you can't have growth and comfort zone in the exact same space. You just can't. It's either one or the other. And anytime that we choose comfort, we're saying this is the most important thing right now versus the thing that we say that we want to have. And so to the point of health, that's where we constantly have to show up on a consistent basis. That's where we have that framework so that we can be healthy and then have the life that we want to live going forward.
Yeah. And somebody told me once, your comfort zone is your cage. And I thought that was like a really powerful sort of like visual. So like, how do you have that conversation with people? Because like the person you're describing, perimenopausal, menopausal woman who's likely maybe not in the best shape of their lives or whatever, like there's a bunch of brick walls there. Like there's a bunch of reasons for them not to do it. How do you kind of get them through this?
I think it starts with validation of what we go through as women. And I appreciate you gentlemen letting me talk about this because
I fucking love it.
You know how many people we know who are in this?
Yeah.
Like
all of them.
This is our age
all
group. This is the other half of us.
Yeah.
And so so perimenopause really flips everything upside down for us. And as we get closer to menopause, we're just getting closer to the end of our reproductive years. So when a woman is getting closer, there's a hormone called estrogen that is on the decline. And as that's happening, it's throwing everything else off kilter. So testosterone, progesterone, even your adrenal system. And so when that happens, the body feels like there's things happening such as like emotions, raging, crying, night sweats, hot flashes, skin inflammation. So things are happening internally, externally. Her shape is changing. She's gaining weight. And so she feels very uncomfortable. And we've just not had a lot of focus and emphasis on women because it's not been a major focus of study in science and medicine across time until recently. So a lot of women have been struggling. So I think I start off by validating women and saying, like, listen, as a certified menopause specialist, I hear you and I see you. And so we talk about getting hormones checked, talking to your doctor, make sure that they're aligned with the journey you want to take, but then also looking at how we take care of our bodies. So how are we fueling our bodies? How are we sleeping? Because sleep gets wrecked for many, many women. And that's our rest and recovery. So if you're not resting and recovering right, then everything else is thrown off kilter. Lifting heavy weights. Now, 1 in 2 of us women will be diagnosed with osteoporosis at some point in time in her life. And that was from 2020.
Is it that high? 50%?
No, it's huge, you know,
Yeah,
and by the time you have osteopenia, there's already visible damage.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I'm constantly, as someone who loves to lift weights, I'm constantly pushing women, please lift heavier, put the pink weights down, lift heavier, make those faces, like really push and scale it in accordance to your fitness ability. And I think that protecting muscle and bone is such a strong indicator of quality of life later on. Because the moment somebody, even a man, I think a man's statistics are like 1 in 4 will be diagnosed, will have, I think it's right around 1 in 4 will have osteoporosis later on in life. But when you have a fracture, like your risk of mortality skyrockets. It's scary. So now quality of life begins to deteriorate and mortality rates do climb. So it's not a sexy thing to talk about, but if we keep that in mind and we plan now, then we create the framework where we can have that quality of life later on. So I embrace that, and I try to share that with women. A lot of it get it. A lot of them get it. Others, I just chalk it to they've not sat with that yet. They've not made a decision yet.
I also think there's some myths within that, right? And some of them are societal, but one that I always hear, and you know, when you powerlift and you have women that powerlift, the first thing you hear is, "Oh, I don't want to not look feminine." And I think that's such BS. I mean, your ass gets bigger. Like that's like there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And I've told women before, it's like, unless you insert the exact amount of testosterone that a man has into your body, you are not going to bulk up like a man. And that's our muscle decline is it's too scary to not do something about it.
Not to do something about it. And I love the fact that and my functional medicine friends, and you brought this up, will say women are not small men. And this is talking about the gap in that research between women and men. And some of it goes back to just how studies are done. It's normally college-age white men because the studies are being done on campuses. And guess who wants, $20 for drinking money? Oh, white dudes, we're going to go do that,
Yeah. And that came up my son's college tour. It's at WVU. They've got a huge research campus there. And they're like, "Oh, you can do all these studies." And I'm laughing. And my wife's like, "What are you laughing at?" I'm like, this is why all of our studies are fucked up, because places like this is who they have access to. They've got a never ending supply of young,
healthy white males.
I mean, they're everywhere, it's just.
And so it's evolving slowly, but I mean, at times it feels like we're watching grass grow, but
sure.
But it's still the landscape is starting to change, and so that's good. That's a good thing.
So that osteoarthritis and all that stuff, like, is that a function of aging that gets modified by lifting heavy weights, or is there something about lifting heavy weights that tamps that de-evolution down?
You're increasing bone density by having weight-bearing exercise.
You do.
So that's just a biological function of your bones supporting the weight?
Yeah, so it's bone health is very important. So I mean, for any human being. So women in particular, 5 to 7 years post menopause, she can lose up to 25% bone mineral density. So that's where
that is not inconsequential.
And it's super fast. That's super fast.
It's fast. So then this is why the time the best time that you can do this was yesterday, but the second best time is literally right now to lift heavy. To lift heavier in accordance to your fitness ability. So I always tell women, my PR is not necessarily what I'm pushing for you to do. Like, what would challenge you to maintain good form and execute the reps where you're struggling to have good form. Now that's the sweet spot so that you challenge your body.
And that's actually one of my pet peeves at the gym. When you go there, you see like there's this one guy who's like my nemesis. I have no idea who he is, but I look at him every day that I'm there. He does a bicep curl by keeping his arms completely at a 90 and just lifts his back up and down. And he's just doing these ridiculous things. And I'm like, I just want to go up with like one of those pink weights and smack them over the head with it. Cause it's like, I'm like, what are you doing here? Like at a minimum, you're just wasting your time. Like this is just,
I'm surprised somebody at the gym isn't like, hey man, don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's
like, I guess depending on the gym, you know?
yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy though.
Well, I think at times, so I had a moment in the gym where I had approached somebody who was really struggling, and I could tell that their form, like I could tell that after when they were doing a lat pull down, and the way that they were resting in between sets, you could tell that they were kind of like they were in pain. And so I came up to them and I literally whispered like, hey, so if I just want to tell, if you adjust your posture like this and I try to keep it low key. And it was a man and he was like, oh my God, thank you. I think that's making a difference. And so he thanked me for that. I just didn't try to make a spectacle I didn't try to embarrass him. But I think, to your point, there are people in the gym that when you can tell that they're guessing about how to do a movement, or maybe they saw it somewhere and then they're just and the number one reason why people get hurt in the gym is poor form.
100%.
Yeah.
And like, I noticed too for myself, and I'm obviously like, I try to do it the right way. Like if there's a form, if somebody says, hey, here's optimal form for this, I try my best to replicate that. And so like that guy drives me crazy, not because I care, but because I'm like, you're just doing it wrong. And then all of a sudden when I drop the weight and do it the right way and I keep that optimal form, I actually feel a lot better about everything. Like I feel mentally better. Like my muscles actually feel like they probably should after that because I actually worked out the right muscle, so there's like a ton of benefit to that. And I see that all the time. It was just a side comment, but.
Well, and also, just the muscles, joints, and tendons, as long as if we follow the planes of motion, then we're going to reduce our risk of injury. But I will say that a pet peeve of mine in the gym is just how quickly somebody is doing, how fast someone is doing. Like they're chasing the pump, or like they're doing rear delt flies, and it looks like you're okay. You're about to take off there.
Yeah.
And the whole thing, and I'm like, my shoulders hurt watching you, and the whole thing.
Yeah.
I watch people in the gym, but I think that,
come on, you do.
The second you see something that is clearly wrong, you're like, ooh, what's that? You're going to catch that. The thing that sticks out. It's not going to be the person that's just doing their thing and it's going to be the one where you're like, oh, that's going to hurt him.
Yeah. It's like watching a train wreck. You're like, I want to look away, but I just can't. Like, it's like something wrong with me. Yeah.
I mean, you try to, that's why I wear a hat and then wear Bill.
Like blinders on.
Obvious. So yeah, that works.
I get that way out in public with, just given my schedule, we eat out a lot and it's hard to eat healthy out, right? Like, I mean, it's a mindful activity, right? You have to really be on it. And at least once a month, I would say, and restaurants, they're cramming as many people as they can in there. I hear somebody talking about like, oh, I'm on a GLP-1. I'll have my third Diet Coke. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm at the gym every day. I'm down 5 pounds, but I really want to lose a lot more. I'll take the mozzarella sticks to start, and I'm like, okay.
God, mozzarella sticks sound so good now.
The mozzarella sticks are so good. I mean, trust me, they're so good. But I just think
that's all I want now. Damn it.
It's the food version of that gym guy, right? It's like there's this like, okay, I want this thing, but I'm not willing to actually want this thing the way that I need to want it. And that's why I'm always curious when I talk to people like you, like, how do you get people through these sort of very natural human emotions and activities? Like, I want mozzarella sticks literally right now. I think like
part of it just depends on what cravings are and how they hit. So if my take that I always like to do with restaurants is, if you're going to a much more decadent restaurant and it doesn't have as many healthy options, then I sometimes will eat like a small amount of protein before, and I'll stay on top of my hydration. And then restaurants are, by nature, so very many of them just have foods that are very decadent, but not necessarily something that you would think that is healthy. So in the case of being a part of a group that everyone's trying to decide on a restaurant, I'm that oddball where I'm like, we need to have one that has healthy options. So I
Sure.
won't necessarily want to go to a pizzeria. I won't necessarily want to do that, only because, I don't want to feel like I'm pigeonholed in one way or another. Conversely, if someone is like, I want to have a treat and I want to have, I don't necessarily want to have a salad, or so they might think. So I think just finding a happy medium, number one. And then honestly, breads and pastas tend to be a they're evil, and so they're loaded
Tom's
with
a gluten-free house until he's home by himself, and he's like,
yeah,
bread.
it's like you lose some weight and then you're like, I'm getting fucking breadsticks.
Yeah.
Why? Because they're and that's the thing with the gluten. People don't know this, but it acts similar to morphine in the brain, so it's not that inherently gluten is bad. It's the fact that we have a wheat that we've selectively bred into having this insanely high level of gluten in it, because it's the mouth chew, it's the feel, it tastes fucking great, but our brain is like, this is a drug.
Yeah, give me
it's
more.
also the sugars as well. So
absolutely,
like,
the sugars, right? Simple carbs break down super quick, and it's just the same as like pounding pixie sticks all day.
So I think that what helps is just being able to, number one, be hydrated. And sometimes when we stay on top of our sleep, our metabolism gets a boost. So then those sugar cravings or any of those cravings aren't as intense. And then just making a choice to stay away from that. And then I like to use the phrase, nothing tastes as good as it feels. So when you get to the point where you are feeling good about your body, and then your body reminds you have something that's a little more decadent, that your body reminds you, oh no, what's this? Then that would be a good reminder of, okay, if I continue to eat this, then I'm not going to feel good inside, or maybe I'm going to get the runs, or maybe I'm going to get bloated. So that's important.
And I was like I just said, I was in British Columbia, and we had, it's like you ski all day, and, I'm with my kids on spring break, and we go out to a restaurant, and like you have dessert, right? And we had like these things called beaver tails, like, right? It's like a flat churro with like various toppings on it, right?
It's a donut.
It's a donut, basically. And I was like, this looks great. So we have one, and like I had such GI issues from that. My whole family's shaking their heads at me. They're like, you are such a wuss. And I'm like, my body does not like this shit anymore. And it's like the most depressing side effect of
cleaning up your diet. Yeah.
It's like, I can't, if I had an ice cream cone, like a double ice cream cone on a waffle, I'd probably shit for 3 days. Like it would be like, my body would just shut down. And that's like 2 scoops of ice cream. It just doesn't make...
we got a creamery here, and let's go take the kids for some ice cream. Give me the kid size. 2 spoons in, and I'm like, yep, that was a mistake.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? No, it's absolutely delicious. Best thing I've ever tasted. It's going to kill me.
Yeah.
It's going to kill me.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, and honestly, so many restaurants, I mean, they're meant for you for the items to be super tasty.
Yeah.
Super decadent for some things. Very lots of calories. And so, but then the body does keep the score, to your point.
It does.
It's, I think it's helpful where those moments are not necessarily very frequent. So if you have an occasion where you are celebrating or getting together, sure. But then the consistency is key to have your, to eat as good as you can. And I like to suggest walking after every meal. I think that's important to do. So if you have time, if you have a meal, just go walk 10 to 15 minutes afterwards. I know lunchtime can be hard just because it could be based in the work environment, but that also helps your glucose levels kind of come down a little bit from whatever you had.
And I do feel better. You're right. That lunchtime is nearly impossible. Half the time I'm eating at my desk because I'm in the middle of 19 things simultaneously. So it gets hard. But when I do have the ability to take a conference call, like I'll take one of my calls walking and I'll do it right after food. I come back like I don't need a cup of coffee. I don't have brain fog. Like my whole everything feels like infinitely better. And I'm like, if I know that, why am I not doing this every fucking time? Like it doesn't make any sense. But
because I think sometimes we're distracted. We've got so many things on our plate. We've got a full calendar. We're being split in different directions. And so it comes down to making it a point, making it a decision, and making it obvious that we have to do. I love when people have walking pads underneath their desk. I love when people have walking desks so that you are getting stuff done. And if you can't get outside, or if the weather is crappy, it's a 2-for-1 and you're getting things done, and you've not left yourself off the priority totem pole.
Is it distracting to see somebody doing this? Like when you're talking to them on a conference call, you're like, okay,
I like when they're kind of winded. You know, you're like, what was that? Just slow the pace down, man. You're going to be there for 8 hours.
Yeah.
So great point that you say. I think that that is distracting. They don't have to go very fast. You could even do like a 1 mile per hour speed, and you can't really tell if you go, at least if the feet and the legs are moving, then you're in business. But to your point, there's no need to be sprinting. That is distracting. Then
it is super distracting.
We can't even stay on agenda. We're just kind of watching you. And so
talk about a train wreck. There's a guy who's in a networking group I belong to, and he's constantly on that thing, and his head is literally bopping like almost full frame. And I'm like, I'm getting nauseous watching you.
Well, we hope it's a walking pad.
Yeah, I mean, we hope. I don't know. Yeah, I don't. You know, I want to do that, but I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't want to look ridiculous.
Get one of those little like bike things. Just
my God,
the little
those things are hilarious. Yeah,
you just be rocking back and forth.
Yeah, just rocking. It is funny. Actually, when I try to do my stand up, my whole desk goes up and down, right? Like, but the camera is on that desk, obviously, so it goes. So I have this whole like muscle memory where I like literally am doing like a tricep raise with my body, so I can like match the speed of the up and and I try to make it so the other person doesn't see me doing it. But then when they're like, "Did you just put your desk up?" Because they can see the background has a different perspective. I'm like, yeah. And then what's super cool is they're like, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing. That's a good thing. I haven't stood up in 2 hours. I'm like, see, let's all make this into
lives.
Yeah,
saving lives.
Yeah.
I mean,
sometimes you just need somebody to tell you to do it.
You have to move more. Sitting, I always like to say, sitting is the new smoking. We have to move more.
Yeah, so, then somebody told me standing is the new smoking, because now everyone over-indexed on the standing, and now they're like, now people are getting joint problems, and I'm like, all right, I can't fucking win here.
Yeah, well, look, this is the most Taoist medicine, going back to the earliest days of East Asian medicine, was like, don't sit too much, don't stand too much, don't eat too much. It was all like, hey, look, moderation, right? So humans were never like, and we've had this topic before, we're still animals. We just pretend like we're not, and we do things at levels that we were never intended to do. Yes, our body should be able to do all of that, just not all the time.
Right. Yeah,
very true.
This whole idea of a homeostatic experience of life, like, oh, I can sit here for 8 hours, and then when I'm out of work, I'm gonna do this other thing for 3 hours. And then,
even 2 hours at the gym every day doesn't offset the 8 hours of sitting at a desk, you know? No. So it's sad, but you do what you can. And then I'm going to get up and walk after this, you know?
Right, yeah. Well, then I got friends that are like, I spent 3 hours at the gym. I'm like, that's not better. Like, I don't know that that's the right move either.
There's a happy middle.
Are they training for an event?
Now they just think no. I'm talking about 50-year-old suburban dads,
like, and they're going to go once a week for 3 hours.
Yeah. Some of it is that for sure, but I think a lot of it too is like, hey, I was fat and now I'm not, and I want to not be fat again. And I think the answer is to spend 2-3 hours at the gym at a clip. And I'm like, I mean, I'd rather spend, my gym workout is 35 minutes every time. Like, it's the same thing. I hit it. I go in there. I don't have my AirPods in. I don't have any distractions. I go in, I know my workout. I do it. I get the fuck out of there. Like, that works for me. But I get every muscle group that I need to address done in that, because I'm not wasting any fucking time. I'm not like in there. And then I'll do a cycle class if I want after that. And then I feel great. And I'm out the door and I get a little bit of everything. But spending 3 hours in a gym, I don't even know what I'd be doing for that amount of time. Like, I mean,
No, I will admit I've had every now and then I'm like, ooh, I'm feeling serendipitous. Let me see. I'm feeling great. Let me do a PR over here. Let me do a PR over there. But no, 45 minutes to an hour and a half. Hour and a half is probably the most thorough that I am at the gym, just to hit from top to bottom for, whatever that day is that I'm training. But
it also sounds like you're altering that based on like what you have coming up, right? Like if you're training for something, that's that 80-20. I got to spend 80% of the time doing the thing I'm training for. And then 20% recovering in that case. But other than that, I think, what are people's health goals and it should match their needs,
But I think where I was going with that is that's why people think that they have to do that to get
for hours and hours
to get up to where they want to be. And I guess I'm asking Adriana, like, what do you see? Like, you don't need people in the gym for 2 hours a day. Like, that doesn't have to happen.
Yeah, no, I say for me, nationals on the national stage is going to be in August. So I know that I have to keep up my regimen, because this is now I'm playing with the big girls now. And
yeah, so you got to sharpen some edges there. Yeah.
Yes. And so, but you can have a productive workout without being on your phone, without taking too much time in between sets. And you have to not stall and not procrastinate doing a set. I think sometimes in the gym, you see that where people feel like, well, I'm in the gym, so osmosis, like I'm being productive, even though they're not moving as fast as they can. So I think time management has to play a role.
My favorite is to see these like 25-year-old dudes, 19-year-old dudes, like that whole like college, post-college, and they're just there scrolling Instagram, and then they'll do a set, and then they'll go back to scrolling Instagram. And I asked my son about that, who's 17, and I was like, why are these guys doing this? He goes, oh, there's all this science now that says if you wait like 4 minutes or something, and it's all these ridiculous like internet nonsense, stuff. But like there's these things spreading that like I think are spread by another guy who's like, how do I justify being on TikTok a little bit more and go to the gym? Here, we're going to create some pseudoscience around like, how much recovery I need. I'm like, put your phone down, just finish the fucking exercise. I need to get on that machine.
Look, man, I got to do 3 sets of squats and you're standing there fucking watching reels.
Yeah. Right.
Oh.
Yeah. That's annoying. That's annoying.
Oh.
Yeah.
The gym only has 5 platforms. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Sorry.
The other thing that I noticed is that I had offered someone to jump in. And they were younger than me. It was a woman, and she was like, "Oh no," because I could tell she was huffing and puffing. The glute drive machines we have 2 at the gym that I go to, and I was one of the ones that I had to go through my series of sets, and I was like, "Do you want to jump in?" She's no. So I don't think the sharing, that's not happening as much as it used to be in the gym.
Oh yeah.
So people just kind of like hog a machine, and I try not to. I make it seem like I'm resting, I'm going, and if somebody asks me how many more sets do you have, I have 3 more sets. And, do you want to jump in?
You want to work in? Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess from a training standpoint, when, you seem really put together in your own regimen, but like what made you sort of pick, was the move to menopause because you were in this similar age bracket, or and like I guess the follow-up question is, once you're out of that bracket, do you see yourself sort of evolving to treat women of whatever age you happen to be at the time you make the next shift? Is this something you see happening?
Yeah, with my own perimenopause journey. So I noticed that my own body was changing, and as I was trying to understand, I'm 53, by the way. And when I noticed and I started to be proactive with my health, I knew that I couldn't do some of the training tactics that I did from years before. And so there wasn't a lot of people talking about it. I mean, there's more in the space, but I feel that sometimes older women don't have the right guidance, because those who are guiding them they've not had the training or the skill set to understand perimenopause and menopause. So for example, I've heard so many women say, my trainer at the gym, who happens to be younger, man, male or female, they just kind of tell me, just shake it off, or just lift like this or lift like that. And it seems very basic and not customized. And I think for women, we're dealing with joint inflammation when estrogen's out the door. We have to be a little bit careful. And I've noticed that for those who don't understand perimenopause and menopause, they kind of shrug it off. So we just need to have more dialogue. And I know that as we get older, there needs to be more options. There needs to, I think that when a person is younger, they can be more robust in the gym or in their movements. But I think that there is a level of disconnect for those health and fitness professionals who, to an extent, who have not studied what happens to the perimenopausal and menopausal body. So women feel like I explained to so-and-so, and they're kind of like, well, you just do. Yeah. And they kind of have that type of answer. So they don't feel seen, heard, and supported.
I see. Right.
And is it because do you think part of it, and clearly there's a research component, do you think it's still, and I'm hoping it's shifting, right? You start hearing, 40 is the new 25 and stuff like that. But is there still this value of youth that kind of maybe shading that opinion a little bit?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I honestly feel that. I think that society still reveres youth as to be valued. Mm-hmm. And I think that Gen X is really redefining it, just kind of kicking that myth to the side and saying, oh, we're not done yet. I remember thinking like 50s was so old when I was younger. And then I'm now here I am in my 50s and I'm like, what was I thinking back then? Yeah. I still feel great. And I can see how we have that power to really harness what direction that we're going through. Is it fair that we have to work a little bit harder? Okay, maybe not. I wouldn't say that, hey, menopause is fantastic and terrific and fabulous. But like, what can I do with where I am right now? And I think that for any man or woman who's going through 50s, we still have to, we can pump the brakes on muscle mass and bone mineral density decline. We don't have to age ourselves as fast as maybe we have been with society's habits and peer pressures and all of that. We can slow down the aging process. And I tell everybody, I may be older, but I'm not old. I'm older, I'm not old. I'm not old.
But I don't know what you looked like when you were in your younger days, but just by the picture you painted here, there's like nothing about you that isn't probably 100% better than it was back then. So like, why on earth would you feel old under that circumstance, right? Like, I mean, there's no...
Yeah, if you feel like you're constantly improving.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's and maybe that's part of it for Gen X, because Matt and I were on another podcast together, and he said if you could go back and take what you know now and apply it then, no, I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
Why?
No.
I feel more me than I ever have.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that I think over the last couple of decades, especially with Gen X, we redefine. I think we're the generation that have had so many different exposures to society and culture and life changing that we're more robust. I mean, what is that phrase? Like, we were raised on, hose water and neglect.
Yeah. Hose water and neglect.
Matt texted me. He wanted that t-shirt the other day.
I want that t-shirt. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the funniest t-shirt in the world. Yeah.
I mean, it's true. How many of us were latchkey kids? How many of us were? So we've got that level of tenacity and we're taking it through each new chapter in life. And we're not drinking the Kool-Aid. We're not like, we're not defined by what, past generations did, what boomers did. No, we're not done yet.
And we certainly weren't fucking recording it. Like my daughter came home and told me something. She goes, Dad, I want to show you this video. A friend of mine sent it to me. I'm like, are you guys fucking idiots? You don't leave a record.
That's really fun.
There was no record of shenanigans.
We didn't have to worry about it. Why? There was no one, like, if it was a video camera, it was sitting on some dude's shoulder. You could see it.
Yeah.
I think that we're in a really sweet spot. We really truly are, because we're evolving as we go. And it's just, and as long as we look at it as, that we have the power to change our personal history, then we can't go wrong, because we're not done yet. We're not going to throw in the towel. And
you know what I find super interesting about what you're saying is I was at an event last night with a friend of mine who started going to the gym because he moved and there was a gym near him, and he's like, okay, let me get a trainer. And, went to the gym. Then he was like, well, let me get a trainer. And then it was like, then he met a guy at the gym who has a peptide company. Now he's like taking peptides. Then he got a scale that does body impedance and all these other things. And like, now he's on T replacement. And like, he just keeps going up the ladder. And I was talking to him about it. I'm like, well, how do you feel about it? He goes, honestly, net, it's hard to tell because I'm always like leveling up to the next thing. But he goes, I mean, looking at the history, I feel infinitely better. I mean, I look better, like my skin's better, my energy's better, everything's better. And I'm like, going back a year, he didn't know any of those things outside of an internet meme, right? Like, you know about it, but you don't really know anything about it, right? Like it doesn't land for you because you never lived that experience. And now once you see people, I mean, and look, we talked about this on the show a lot. You need a couple bucks. None of the shit I just mentioned is free. He's got enough money to swing it. So he's doing all those things. But like, now that he's got that, he's paying for the education is what I'm kind of framing it as. It's like, okay, great. Yeah, you don't have to do this the rest of your life. But right now, like, look at all the shit now that you didn't know a year ago, just like literally that fast.
And I think
it looks great.
And that's fantastic. I think there are 3 areas where if we do the work now, if we pay now, we play later. So health, wealth, and relationships.
Yeah.
We do the work now, we play later. I heard that before where it's play now, pay later. Pay now, play later. So
right.
do
it's a marshmallow experiment. Yeah. And it's funny. I told both my kids about the marshmallow experiment, and I said, this is what they were testing. And like, and after I went through the whole thing, I said, so which one would you choose? They're like, both of them looked at each other, looked back at me like, oh, we're eating the marshmallow right now. Like they like didn't even. Like, even when they knew the secret, if you will, they were like, no, give me I'll take the 1 marshmallow now, not the 2 later. Yeah, it's totally fine. Yeah, but but that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm 50 now. I feel sometimes more 50 than I did when I was 35 and overweight and smoking cigarettes. You know what I mean? Like I felt older then than I do now, despite being several years younger. And that's the part where I'm like, you can't teach that to somebody. You have to live that. Like that has to be something you experience bodily, or else it doesn't make any sense.
And it's a decision of how you want to lead your life. It really truly is.
Sure.
And I love the example of really going for it all and just going for it. And I think that's why when I did the pageant, when I started being a pageant girl, and I've been saying that more lately, and people are like, why are you doing it? And I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Because I want to, because I want to see, I want to see where this leads. I want to see what happens next. I want to see what happens in my life when I give it my all in a space where I'm not familiar with, but I allow myself to grow and stretch and really reach. I want to see for myself.
Right. And I think that's the other thing. It's just like my buddy at going to that gym and like laddering up, like you get to a point where you're like, what's the next rung look like? I don't know. You want to like play the violin? Okay, sure. Like, like what it doesn't, whatever you want to do, it sort of becomes like more possible. Right. This show for me is one of those examples. It's like, we took a little passion, we turned it into a thing, and now the thing's getting to be bigger. And I'm like, I love this, but who's to say we can't go even higher? Like, what's the next thing look like? And and that's something that 5 years ago, if you had asked me if you'd be running a podcast at all, I'd be like, no. And now it's like, well, what do you want to do with them? Like, all right, I got here this like, and I think that's the part we're all kind of struggling with anyway.
Yeah, you open up one door and you start to see, hey, there's a lot of other doors here.
A lot of doors. It's a hallway full of doors. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go.
I was going to say my favorite definition of life, and this Jim Rome had said this when he was alive, that life is opportunity mixed with difficulty.
Mm.
And so there's no guarantees in life. There's no guarantees we're going to show up tomorrow. And there's no telling whether we're going to have the unexpected, the setbacks, but there's beauty in life. And what do we do with where we are at right now? And then what options do we have? And what risks are you willing to take things head on?
Sure. So what's next for you? I know you got a pageant coming up in August, apparently. But so what's the current and future looking like for Adriana?
So several things. So obviously we have a show on E360 called The Health Revolution, and we're excited because we're in season 6 and
That's awesome.
continue to grow. And I continue to work with women in perimenopause and menopause. So that cross-sectional reach that's happening. I work with women on all sorts from here in the United States and then beyond. But then, so I'm letting those areas, I'm just letting everything just create that synergy. And then in addition to that, I didn't make mention on the local side of things, I do host self-defense classes for women. And
I did want to talk to you about that.
Women are growing their voices and confidence and just using their power. So I'm looking for worlds colliding. I'm looking to, I can't wait to speak more. I've got several gigs coming up where I get to share my message, and I'm just excited. I just want to see what happens next.
That is awesome. What kind of self-defense are you doing? I meant to ask you about that earlier. We don't have to go too far down. I'm just curious. Tom and I are both martial art guys for a long, long time. So
it's Krav Maga based. And so our class is called She Fights Back. And so it's about a 3-hour class we have once a month. We do have a big June retreat coming up here in the in Denver Metro, but it allows us to go over tactics and like real world situations. So we get messy. We get sloppy. I had a little elbow bruise last time that we had class, but we've had such an age range that was incredible. We had a woman as old as in her 70s, and she felt empowered because she felt like, I remember her saying, "Thank you for teaching me the tools to feel more confident that if anything ever happened, I know how to fight back and I know what to do next."
Yeah. Krav is awesome. I took 3 Krav classes and then COVID happened and it just shut everything down. But Krav was a really interesting evolution. I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. Tom's a Chinese, practitioner. So we have totally a whole different set, but Krav was like, it challenged all of those things. It refocused everything differently. I really enjoyed it. Actually, it was a lot of fun.
Same. I feel strong when I go through the motions of Krav Maga.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's pretty nasty too, man. I mean, when you see like real Krav Maga people doing their thing, like it can get really intense. I mean, it's very kinetic. There's a lot of movement.
Yeah, it can be not pretty.
Yeah. Oh, I find it sexy as hell, man. Are you kidding me? Some of those moves are just so awesome. Like the fluency of some of that, and I think more of it's the efficiency of it, right? Like so much of martial arts is about a little bit of, no one will tell you this, but a lot of it is about that aesthetic. Like how high could my kick go, and how pretty is my punch, and is this lunge right? And I'm like, when shit's hitting the fan, nobody gives a shit about how pretty your punch is. Like, that's what I liked about Krav. It's just you
just want to get home.
You just want to, just end this as fast as you can so you can get home to somebody else. So
absolutely.
So Adriana, where do we find you? Let's do the commercial for the socials and all that neat stuff. How do we find you?
Several areas. So on TikTok, I am fitness with Adriana _1N. And that's where most of my audience is. And then also fitness with Adriana on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. But then on the pageant side of things, my handle is Mrs. Adriana Morrison with one N again. And so anyone who's interested in seeing the journey, feel free to follow me there. And then LinkedIn, it's my name, Adriana Morrison. And I look to connect with as many incredible people as possible.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So you have a different one for the pageant stuff, huh? That's interesting.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Because sometimes I wanted to make sure that those who are only interested in health and fitness, that they had a space to land. And then for those, the pageant world is the same thing, but sometimes they intertwine. Lately, they've been intertwining, so it's been good.
Oh, it's one more click to follow you in both places.
Yeah, it's not hard. Yeah.
Yeah, not hard.
You're not asking for much.
Yeah,
exactly.
Adriana, so cool talking to you.
It was a lot of fun.
We've actually, somebody has recently called out for the umpteenth time that Tom and I end up having a lot of women and women-centric health practitioners on the show, not by design, but just seems to be where it goes.
Oh, it's by design. I don't want to ever be considered part of the manosphere.
No, I mean, I guess, but we just book cool people. I don't go out of my way to say,
it's
is
more
it a
of a
woman?
like this
Is
person seems cool, you know?
Right.
Well,
And it's awesome that you were here. This was very interesting.
This has been great. I appreciate you all having me. I love this conversation.
So much fun. All right. Well, listen, I can't wait to follow you on this pageant thing. Now I feel like
we got to go to
now I feel like I'm invested.
Now.
I need
best of luck in August too.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, thanks again, and enjoy the weekend. And Adriana, thanks again.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Be subversive, irreverent.
Health is wealth, but you knew that.
Everybody knows that.
But so is following us on social media at Irreverent Health. And check out our website for more exclusive content at irreverenthealth.com.
Oh, I like this.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Irreverent Health.